So Beers. Another GT 992, sorry, the 06 of Mustafa Bakir, and he's sharing that car with Josh Carlson. Next to him is the number 48 of Francis Florido. In row 10, the 47 of Albert Lukasik, another GT 4-liter car. And next to him is one of the Caymans, the 641 of Kurt Kropp. In row 9, the 03 of Youssef Nabi. He's sharing that with Dario Capitino as the second of the Ferrari Challenge cars, vying for the Maranello Cup. Next to him in row 9 is the 19 of Torsten Gross and a Cayman 3.8 with hand controls. We'll talk about that as the race wears on. In row 8 is car 806, Todd Pajonas in his 3.8-liter GT3 car, and Eric Joyner in the number 911 GTX class car. In row number 7 is the 167 of Andrew Smiley in a Cayman, and the 24 of Joseph Rizzo sharing the car with Spencer Pompelli, as Greg mentioned, in a 4-liter Cayman. In row 6 on the outside, the 10 of Jeff Ofterbach in his 4-liter Cayman, and the 216 of Nicholas Groombridge in another GTX GT3 car. In row 5 is the 210 of Matthew Cohn, and he's sharing the car with Kevin Clifford in a GT 4.R. And next to him is the Cayman points leader, the number 14 of Zachary Bradford, Eric Figueres, sharing that Cayman 4-liter car with him. The top 8 are all in the GT3 class, the Mission Foods GT3 class. In 8th position is the 113 of Steve Katz in a 3.6-liter GT3. Next to him, the 244 of Stephen DiPaolo in a GT 992. In row 3, the number 3 is Lou Yario in a GT 4-liter, and the 714 of Ross Goldstein in a Cayman 4-liter car. So Ross, actually the highest placed Cayman in this grid. And row number 2 is the 573 of John Coster in a GT 992, and the 262 of yesterday's Sprint 3 winner, Joe Viola, in a GT 992. The top 2 are the 207 of Joel Johnson, who won the first 2 sprint races in the GTX car, and the 212 of Russell Farhang in a GTX car as well. So in the first 2 sprint races, it was Johnson and Farhang sprinting away from the rest of the field, but Joe Viola had a fantastic start in the 3rd sprint race yesterday from the 3rd row, and made the move down to the inside, approaching Big Bend as the green flag flew, and was able to translate that into a lead, which he kept the entire race. So great run for Joe, and I'm expecting good things for him in this Enduro.
Taking a quick look at the scoring monitor, I don't see Joel Johnson on the starting grid. So
yeah, only 18 of the 24 cars have come out to play, so we do have some.
Pace car onto pit lane, ready to go to green flag racing for the International GT Series. 1 hour of competition, and the 212 of Russell Farhang immediately jumps into the lead as they head down into turn number 1.
Joe Viola slots into 2nd spot as they work their way through Big Bend. As we mentioned, like I say, some of the teams electing not to come out and play with the weather being a question. But Farhang with the lead right now, Viola in 2nd, and I believe that's Coster slotting into the 3rd spot, right behind Coster. The 14 of Zachary Bradford and Eric Figueres in the lead Cayman car. It's interesting that Zachary often does not qualify at the front, but has always raced to the front so far this season. So they're working their way through the Paul Newman Straight up to the uphill. And West Bend, and here they come already down the hill. Farhang with a big lead after the first lap.
Farhang first, Viola in the black and white number 262 second.
And right behind them is Coster in that 573, the blue and red liveried machine. Ross Goldstein in the 714 right behind him. Then the white number 3 of Lou Yario. Usual suspects up at the front, what we have seen all weekend long so far.
Yeah, Lou Yario, not a driver to overlook. He's been very steady, always in the top 5, and over a 1 hour distance that may pay dividends.
Yeah, we call this an endurance race, but in reality, the lap times are about the same as we have in this. It's basically 2 sprints with a 5-minute pause in between. So yeah, you won't see these guys, saving the car, saving the tires. They pretty much go full tilt all the way.
Speaking of tires, Pirelli plays a key role in the International GT Series.
Yes, obviously they are the official tire of the International GT. as well as the Trans Am presented by Pirelli, of course, and the Cube 3 Architecture TA2 series. So Pirelli has tires in almost 350 championships all around the world, including the Formula One World Championship. So they are a wonderful tire partner. They bring a lot of knowledge from international racing to what we do here in this country.
And in contrast to what we see in some of the top echelon series, tire degradation not the same factor here. These are basically people who are paying for their own tires, and the idea is while not to have tires that last forever, they are tires that remain consistent over the full race distance.
Exactly right. We find, especially in qualifying mode, that it takes a couple laps to get the tires fully up to temperature before we see competitive times. But I'll tell you what, Joe Viola is beginning to reel in Russell Farhang in our leader here. It looks visibly that he's a little bit closer. That's down to wait for Viola to come by at just about 5 seconds between those two. But the best battle is the one for fourth right now, as Ross Goldstein has got company. Lou Yorio and Zachary Bradford both challenging him as they head into Big Bend. Todd Pajonas has not come by, or is he in the pit lane? Yeah, here he is. Yeah. So Todd Pajonas drops to the back in the 806. Viola with about a 5-second disadvantage that he's going to try to close down. John Coster another 4 seconds back, but then, like I said, he's got plenty of company. Ross Goldstein in the 714, Lou Yario in the 3, Zachary Bradford in the 14 in the lead Cayman. And then Nicholas Groombridge not that far back as well. And then a little bit of a gap, some breathing room for the 24 with Joseph Rizzo and Spencer Pumpelli.
Good battle between the 714 or the number 14 of Zachary Bradford. Nicholas Groombridge in the 216 is 7th, 8th to Joe Rizzo. In the 24, Jeff Afterback in the number 10 is 9th, and Mustafa Bakir in the number 06 rounding out the top 10. John, I think Russ Farhang was stung just a little bit by Joe Viola's performance yesterday, and looking to make amends here in the 1 hour race as he has stretched the gap to, I think we had about 4 seconds between first and second. Well, it's up to 7 seconds, so although Viola just turned his best lap of 54.377, that is about a second off of the fast lap that Russ Farhang has at 53.244 for the lap around the 1.47 mile circuit here at Lime Rock Park.
Todd Pajonas is out there in the 806, but has now gone a lap down to the leader after that spin or off-course excursion a couple laps ago. He's right in front of Joe Viola as he came by this time.
Our two Ferraris are running nose to tail out there in the battle for the Maranello Cup. A bit further down the order,
Youssef Nabi and Dario Capitino in the 03 car, the white and orange one, and then the green tinted car of Radu Montien and Dominio Fioravante just behind him. They're running 12th and 13th, separated by just about a quarter of a second. Montien has had a troubled day yesterday, made contact with the barrier or another car and lost a piece of bodywork off the right rear corner of that car, and that compromised his aerodynamics just a little bit. That's one of the reasons that they qualified at the back, because the qualifying order based on their best lap turned in the previous race. Farhang continues to set fast laps as he lowers the best lap time to a 52.958, and that's only about 3/10 off the quickest time that we saw yesterday. So, like I said, there's no holding back here in this, quote, enduro, unquote.
I wonder if perhaps Farhang went for a fresh set of Pirellis to start the morning.
Absolutely. I would not be surprised. Yeah, I would not be surprised. The 186 has also gone a lap down now. Mike Beers has been passed by our leaders in the 3.6 liter Cayman. So 16 cars still remain on the lead lap. Talk about the number 19 of Torsten Gross. That's a very interesting story for that driver, and this car with hand control.
Car number 19, as we said, is Torsten Gross. The car is a GT4 Club Sport. After a life-changing injury, Torsten returned to racing using only hand controls and founded the Just Hands Foundation to help adaptive athletes get behind the wheel. That car will be on display up in the Midway area later on today, so if you would like to learn more about the Just Hands Foundation and the racing efforts of Torsten Gross, be sure to visit the Coca-Cola Fan Zone in the infield parking area here at Lime Rock Park and learn more about the Just Hands Foundation.
Craig just pointed out to me that the 210 of Matthew Cohn and Kevin Clifford is moving forward. They qualified up in 10th position, dropping back early with an issue of some sort into the first lap in 13th or 14th, excuse me, and now up into 13th. But they are gradually working their way forward and quite a bit quicker than the two Ferraris in front. So watch for that 210 Porsche to battle with the two Ferraris in 11th and 12th.
Already 10 minutes into this 1 hour endurance race. Russ Farhang continues to be the race leader in the number 212. Joe Viola in the black and white number 292 is second, and now some 8 seconds behind the race leader. John Coster sits in third. He's in car number 573. Lou Yorio runs fourth in the number 3. Zachary Bradford in the number 14 is fifth. Russ Goldstein in sixth position in the number 714. And Nicholas Groombridge just took away that position, so it is now Nicholas Groombridge in sixth position in the 216. Goldstein slipping down to seventh in the 714. Then Jeff Afterbach in car number 10 is eighth. Ninth to Joe Rizzo in the number 24. And running out the top 10, Mustafa Bakir in the number 06.
It's great to see Zachary Bradford and Eric Figueres in the number 14 Cayman, fifth overall. Only 4 of the GT3 Cup cars in front of them. So doing a good job in that Cayman. Nicholas Groombridge, as we mentioned, just getting around Ross Goldstein to take over that 6th spot. Goldstein in another of the Caymans, as is Jeff Afterbach in the black and blue number 10.
No indication so far that anybody is going to make a pit stop early in this race. Again, the mandatory 5-minute pit stop for each of our competitors in the International GT 1-hour race. But so far, nobody has made the decision to dip on the pit road.
Again, strategy plays into play. Some drivers, like to do a short stint and then come in and have their faster driver do a longer stint. But the other strategy that comes into play is if there is a yellow flag, that's the ideal time to do your pit because you lose less track time as the field is slowed down behind the safety car. So some of these drivers will gamble and go as late as they can, hoping that a yellow will come out and not penalize them as much on the racetrack when they make the pit stop.
Is there a window for the pit stops?
I think they have to have it done before 5 minutes to the checker, I believe, but don't quote me on that. I'm doing that from memory, and at my age the memory's not as good as it used to be. I can see, just as I scan down toward the pit entrance, I can see one team that has a set of rain tires available, but I don't know. We'll see. So far, fingers crossed. Even though the weather radar looks pretty damning, we have not seen any of that rain hit the ground so far. So keep your fingers crossed. We might be able to dodge the bullet here. And the 210 has made the pass around the two Ferraris as Matthew Cohn and Kevin Clifford working their way forward. Actually, they're still being scored they've just moved around the two Ferraris. So Nabi and Capitino in the 03 Ferrari, and then Montian and Fioravante in the 270, back to 12th and 13th respectively. But those two Ferraris still locked together in a good battle, just about 3/4 of a second between the two as they chase the Maranello Cup.
Russ Farhang in full attack mode out there has stretched his lead over the second place car to 15 seconds. So Joe Viola not quite on the pace he had in the sprint finale yesterday. John Coster in third in the number 573.
Farhang has lapped up to the 210 car of Matthew Cohn, so the top 10 are still on the lead lap, but Cohn, the first car, a lap down in 11th position. So Farhang really flying, and like you said, building up a big lead already. After just 14 laps, he's almost 19 seconds in front of the second place car. The only bigger gap is the gap between Joe Rizzo and Spencer Pompelli in the 24 to the 210 of Matthew Cohn and Kevin Clifford. He's some 21 seconds behind them. All the rest of the gaps are in single digits. As I see, Jeff Ofterbach is maybe a little further behind Ross Goldstein this lap, as he's about 11 seconds behind him in the battle for 7th. But I keep one eye on the pit entrance just to see if anybody is going to be making a call to the pits, and so far so good, as we're about 14 minutes into this 1 hour event.
Just about 1/4 distance, 15 minutes complete, 45 minutes to go here in the final race of the weekend for the International GT Series. Let's take a moment to say hello to everybody in the outfield portion of the racetrack, finding their way to their favorite vantage point. From the outfield portion of the circuit, you get a unique view of the racing here at Lime Rock Park. Panorama of the Sam Posey straightaway and the diving turn, as well as a good glimpse of the action that takes place in Big Bend and over in the S's. If you're currently watching from the infield portion of the racetrack, we invite you to use the Chevrolet pedestrian bridge located down at the end of the Sam Posey straightaway. That is your access from the infield to the outfield. So feel free to get up and roam around and enjoy the many vantage points here. Likewise, those of you watching from the outfield portion of the racetrack can use the Chevrolet bridge to visit the paddock area, as well as taking a stroll up to the Coca-Cola fan zone.
And we can see the folks on the hillside overlooking the S's, one of the most popular viewing spots here at this beautiful racetrack, as they're beginning to get settled in for the day of racing. And a good place to be under the trees if there's a little precipitation. It helps to shield you from the weather just a bit.
Real mix of lap traffic right at this point. John Coster in the number 573, the car running in third, just going down the Sam Posey straightaway, flashing the headlights on his Porsche to let the drivers know in their mirrors that a faster car is coming through.
Good battle for 5th is brewing as well. Zachary Bradford and Eric Figueres in the number 14 that are leading the Cayman class in 5th. Nicholas Groombridge right on their back bumper in the number 216 GTX class GT3 car. So that's a good one to keep an eye on. The two Ferraris also having one of the closest battles. Less than a second separates Nobby and Capitino from Montien and Fioravante in the two Ferraris. In fact, Nobby and Capitino just set their personal best with a 57.225. Montien and Fioravante, though, slightly quicker for their best lap time, as they have shaved that interval down to about 0.6 of a second. Russ Farhang is taking no prisoners here, man. He is slicing his way through traffic and making up just as much ground as he possibly can, as that lead has ballooned. I mean, he has disappeared into the S's, and we are still waiting for the second place car to come off the downhill. There's Joe Viola across the line. 20 seconds, almost 21 seconds, the interval between those two. He is just flying out front. Interesting what a difference a day makes. Viola was able to stay right with those two in yesterday's race, but today Farhang is taking no prisoners. Like you said, maybe a fresh set of Pirellis.
Fast lap of the race for Russell Farhang is 52.9. Fast lap of the race for Joe Viola, 54.0. So nearly 2 seconds the gap between in the best lap time turn. So you can see how Farhang in just a few laps is able to stretch that advantage. Right now working on lap number 20, just coming up on the 18-minute mark, so consistently lapping below the 1-minute barrier here in international GT competition.
Once again, Matthew Cohn and Kevin Clifford, the first car a lap down. Joe Rizzo and Spencer Pompelli in the 24 car, trying to stay on the lead lap as the two Ferraris now with nothing in between. And here comes Montien down to the inside as the Ferraris go side by side into Big Bend. Montien got a wheel off into the dirt. As we saw yesterday, those two had a spin in that exact same spot yesterday.
Yep, matching pirouettes for those two cars yesterday as they tangled with one another. Fortunately, both of the Ferraris able to continue the race and therefore able to be in the action today. But again, that close running, you want to try and gain the advantage, but there's no advantage to be gained if you crash and take out the other car that you're competing with.
Yeah, especially in a Ferrari, you know. I know that would dent my pocketbook for sure. I'm sure there's an Italian term for pirouette. I just don't know what it is. Matthew Cohn continues to show great pace in that number 210, about 6 seconds behind Joe Rizzo and Spencer Pompelli. But checking his lap time for that last lap, he was almost 3 seconds quicker. So that interval is getting smaller and smaller as Cohn and Clifford, again, qualified in 10th position, dropped back early to 14th, but then on the way back up now in 11th spot.
Just getting back to the Ferraris for a moment, they are currently running 12th and 13th in the overall running order to 0-3 with about a 1 car length advantage over the number 270. Both of those cars, by the way, 2020 model year Ferrari 448 Challenge EVO configuration cars. So cars from the former years of the Ferrari Challenge series, as they have now gone several series higher. I think they're up to the 468 Ferrari now in the Ferrari Challenge.
We've been talking about Matthew Cohn and Kevin Clifford in the number 210. That battle is really beginning to close up. It's down to under 4 seconds, and the battle just in front of them is equally good. So we'll have to sort that out, but there's a good three-way battle brewing for 10th, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
And we are at 1/3 distance, 20 minutes complete and 40 minutes remaining now in this 1 hour endurance race for the International GT cars to lead off the final day of racing for the Memorial Day Classic here at Lime Rock Park. As you have no doubt noticed, we have rearranged the schedule a little bit, running Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, partly to benefit the teams in the interest of a somewhat more economical trip to northwestern Connecticut. They can schedule it so that they do not have an interlude of one day on Sunday when we do not do any racing here. But we are going to have activities tomorrow, the Royals Garage Car Show, our regular Sunday feature for Memorial Day weekend, so we hope that you'll come back and join us for that.
What better way to listen to the Indianapolis 500 on your radio while enjoying the car show? I hope to be listening to it in my car on my drive back home on the day tomorrow, as we're going to break down and vacate the premises after the last race here this weekend to open up the paddock for the car show participants. Cohn and Clifford have made the pass up into 10th spot, and now their next target will be Jeff Ofterbach in front of him. Ofterbach has got about a 2-second lead at the moment, and on the last lap, he was about a second slower than Matthew Cohn and Kevin Clifford in the 210, so the 10 and the 210 getting a little closer together.
We hope you are familiar with FCP Euro. FCP Euro is the official auto parts supplier of Lime Rock Park and has offered genuine OE, OEM, and aftermarket parts for European vehicles since 2001. But did you know they offer much more than that? Head over to fcpeuro.com to find buyer's guides, DIYs, chassis breakdowns, and much more to help keep your European ride running right. FCP Euro, the official auto parts supplier of Lime Rock Park.
And Cohn has made that pass on Ofterbach already, so Cohn and Clifford up to 9th. What a charge they've made. After dropping back to 14th on the first lap, up to 9th now, and one of the fastest cars on track, 55.698 on that last lap. Mustafa Bakir and Josh Carlson are about 6 seconds up the road, but at this pace, that interval is going to get shorter and shorter as Farhang flashes by at a 54.4 That's a couple seconds off his fastest time, but nonetheless, he is still the quickest car on track. A moment of quiet here.
Well, just to show you how the weather forecast is so changeable, if you were to check the Weather Channel right now, it would say it's raining here. So even as John Phippen has said, the best way to check the weather is to go and hold your hand outside the window. But
yeah, if it comes back wet,
in spite
it's
of what
raining.
the radar is showing, we do have dry conditions continuing. We hope that pattern will continue for the remainder of the day and give us a great day of racing here at Lime Rock Park. But if the rains do come, we do race in the rain. The only time we would conditionally stop the contest would be if there was any lightning in the area, and there's no forecast of thunderstorms. So even if we do get some precipitation, we will continue the racing program as scheduled.
So far, so dry. That's what we like to hear, and the field continues to circulate. All 18 cars that started this race are still running, as the top 10 still on the lead lap. The 210 once again closing down on Mustafa Bakir and Josh Carlson. That was multiple seconds a few laps ago. It's down to 3/10 now as they challenge coming into Big Bend. In fact, he was able to complete that pass, so move up one more spot for Matthew Cohn and Kevin Clifford as they are up to 8th spot.
First car into the pits, and that is the number 10, I believe.
Ofterbach, yeah.
That would be one of our Porsche Caymans. So they are the first car to come in, coming in at about the 25-minute mark. Interesting to see some steam rising off of that car. I wonder if when you come to a halt after running so quickly out there, that you do get some leakage from the radiator. Radiator's mounted up front on the Cayman. One of the officials from the International GT Series having a look underneath, just to make sure that there are no fluids coming out of the car.
We see one of the crew members with a wheel gun working on the left rear. I don't know if he's going to make a tire change here, or if perhaps, it looks like they're going to make that change.
Looks as though they're going for left side tires. Left side tires, of course, taking the brunt of the load here at Lime Rock Park with our predominance of right-hand corners. The only left-hand corner on the circuit is the entry point to the S's directly in front of the infield spectator hillside area.
I believe Lime Rock is unique in my experience as a road course with only a single left-hand turn. But most road courses in this country run in a clockwise direction, and geometry will tell you that there have to be more right-hand turns than lefts on a circuit that runs clockwise.
Keeping an eye on the number 10, we're going to see if they also go for right-side tires with 5 minutes available. They do have plenty of time to go around the car and make tire changes. Now they're going to pull the air hose off, drop it down off the jacks. So it looks like left side tires only for the number 10.
The 03 Ferrari of Navi and Capitino, the first car a lap down, so just 10 cars remain on the lead lap. Russell Farhang continues his charge out in front.
Farhang's advantage now nearly a half a lap. 27 seconds the gap between race leader Russell Farhang and the second place car of Joe Viola, the number 262. At Lime Rock Park, the V stands for victory. VP Racing Fuels is the world leader in racing fuel technology. VP is the official racing fuel of Lime Rock Park. Our VP fueling station is located in Lime Rock's B paddock, adjacent to the downhill turn, pumping 100 octane unleaded, 110 octane leaded fuel, as well as C12 for racing competitors. VP, the official racing fuel of Lime Rock Park.
Farhang has just gone around the 24 car of Joseph Risso and Spencer Pompelli, so now 9 cars remaining on the lead lap. Here comes the second place runner, Joe Viola, in the 262. Checking the lap times between the 7th place runner, the 7:14 of Ross Goldstein, and the 2:10 of Cohn and Clifford, as they are continually quicker than the cars around them. So Cohn and Clifford about 9, almost 10 seconds behind Goldstein, but almost 2 seconds a lap fast. Craig Robinson keeping track of that charge from deeper in the pack for Cohn and Clifford as they continue their march forward in the GT 4.R number 210.
Steadily moving towards the halfway point in this race, just about 1 minute shy of 30 minutes complete and 30 minutes to go. So I think we can safely say at this point that most of the teams are looking at a second half of the race strategy for pit stops, and that could make for a very crowded pit lane depending on when the cars decide to come in.
We've past experience indicates, whether or not withstanding, that about the midway point is when we begin to see cars come, as they kind of split the race into two halves. So as we approach the halfway point here in about 30 seconds, I would not be surprised if we start to see some more pit activity.
Meanwhile, pit stop completed for the number 10, so that is the first car that has run through its pit stop. Of course, with a 5-minute mandatory pit stop, you do lose probably close to 5 laps, if not more. So the process will equalize once the race leaders have come in. But second taker now coming onto pit road. So as John Phippen predicted, in the second half of the race, right around the 30-minute mark, we may see, and there's a second car coming in as well. So lots of activity about to pick up on pit road.
That's the 7:14 coming in, Ross Goldstein, as he's coming in to make his pit stop. Goldstein qualified in 5th position. Then, down at the far end of the pit lane, we have another one trying to get the number. I think that's the 06. Mustafa Bakir and Josh Carlson. Yeah, Mustafa took the first stint in that car, and Jeff Carlson is jumping into that 06 car.
And the parade on the pit lane begins. Another 4 cars coming in. Both of our Ferraris, I think, are on pit road.
They are
Number
indeed.
24 in as well. Here is the number 03 Ferrari, the number 270 Ferrari, and the number 14 all on pit road, as well as the 210. Those cars all in the lower portion of pit lane, so they do have to go past the Skip Barber Tower. We can get a good idea on a good identification on them. 2 other cars on pit road up in the upper portion of the pit road, so they're a little bit more out of our visual range here. Waiting to see if anybody else picks up the strategy of putting on fresh tires. So far we've seen a number of driver changes take place. Both of the Ferraris going the co-driver route in this event. Some adjustment on tire pressures, but so far nobody else up on the jacks in order to get new tires onto the car. So unique strategy for the number 10, which was our first pit visitor.
.210 of Matthew Cohn and Kevin Clifford affecting a driver change. Spencer Papelli getting into the 24 car. So driver changes for all of our 2-driver cars, and Eric Figueres getting into the number 14, taking over from the points leader, Zachary Bradford. Kevin Clifford is in for Matthew Cohn in the 210. Spencer Papelli climbing into the 24. That'll be one to watch. Dario Capitino is now in the 03 Ferrari. And Damiano Fioravante is climbing into the 270 Ferrari, relieving Radu Montien. Josh Carlson, I think, as we mentioned, is into the 06 car. Farhang still out there circulating, as is Joe Viola. John Coster also still out on the track.
Let's take you through the top 10 one more time. As John Phippen mentioned, Russ Farhang is your leader in the number 212. Joe Viola second in the 262. John Coster in the 573 is third. Interestingly, Todd Pahonis, who went a lap down early in the race, now in fourth position as a result of pit stops by cars that were ahead of him. Kurt Kropp in the 641 is fifth. Nicholas Groombridge in the 216 is sixth. Andrew Smiley in the 167 is seventh. Zachary Bradford in the number 14 is in eighth. Ninth to Matthew Cohen in the number 210. And Torsten Gross in the Just Hands Foundation, number 19. Porsche Cayman now rounding out the top 10.
And Torsten just coming into the pit lane as he stops right here in front of us in the Just Hands Motorsports Harry Dog Garage machine. So by my unofficial reckoning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars have come into the pit lane.
Here comes number 11 on the scoreboard as far as pit stops. .714, Russ Goldstein completing his mandatory 5-minute stop. Number 641, the latest car to come down onto pit road, while the number 3 completes its servicing and heads back out.
Kurt Kropp and the number 641. .06 on his way back out after completing the stop. Mustafa Bakir handing that over to Josh Carlson. Another car rolling down the pit lane here.
So far, our two leading cars, Russ Farhang in the 212 and Joe Viola in the number 262, electing to stay out on track. It looks as though they're going to go for the late pit stop strategy.
The 806 of Todd Pahonis coming into the pits after that spin or off-course excursion at some point early on, going the first car to go a lap down. But he's been climbing his way back up the field. As he comes into the pits, he's being scored in third, so just the top two, I believe, are still among those that still need to pit.
I think we counted 11 or 12 out of the 19 starters have been on pit roads. There's still about 6 or 7 cars out there that have not come onto pit lane.
Andrew Smiley moving up the order smartly as he is going long on the first stint in the number 167. Up into third right now.
Taking a look down the order, Russell Farhang just completing lap number 40, while Zachary Bradford in ninth position is on lap number 33. That is a combination of lap times by Farhang and pit stops by drivers who have come onto pit road. We had Torsten Gross momentarily up to third before he came into the pits. He'll rejoin the race somewhere down around 13th position. Another car coming onto pit road, so the countdown continues in terms of the cars that have made their mandatory pit stops.
That's the number 262 on his way into the pit lane.
That would be Joe Viola, who is our
Indeed.
second place car.
Yep.
Car 216 completing its servicing and headed back out. And on the pit road as well now is the number 167.
The 573 of John Coster heading back out after completing his stop. Same story for the 186. Mike Beers. So Russ Farhang still the driver going longest as our leader. As I'm just scanning down the order here, and it looks like he may be one of the last cars to pit.
With the advantage that Farhang has, it's a situation where he can wait till the very last minute and come in for his 5-minute pit stop and probably still not even lose much of a race lead.
Absolutely.
Looks like they're spending doing some work on the front end of the number 262, maybe cleaning out the air scoop for the radiator. So the car that was in second place, Joe Viola, sitting on pit road. Wonder if this might turn into something more than a 5-minute pit stop. They seem to be paying a lot of attention. Now they're doing the cleaning the windshield. So apparently still a routine pit stop for the former second place car, the number 262 of Joe Viola. In fact, Viola, even though he's on pit lane, still shown as the second place car. Is this Farhang coming in? Yes,
it is indeed.
Number 212, our race leader, Russ Farhang, now coming in to execute his mandatory 5-minute pit stop. John, I have to say at this point, thank you for electronic scoring.
Yes, indeed.
If we were trying to lap chart this with mandatory 5-minute pit stops in the old-fashioned way, it would be much more chaotic.
Craig nodding very.
Craig is a great lap charter, but if he says that this is a good thing, then you can be sure that the computerized scoring system is a welcome to innovation over the years.
For sure. Farhang still being shown as the leader. Joe Viola, who has completed his stop, is being shown as 3 laps down. Lou Yario, another 2 laps down in third. John Coster, just about a second and a half behind Yario in the 573. Eric Figueres now in the 14 for Zachary Bradford, about 30 seconds behind as he just sets his personal best, as Figueres doing a good job in that number 14 Cayman.
Once Farhang and Viola retake the track, we will reset the top 10 for you. Lou Yorio right now posted in third position in number 3. I'm not sure that he has come in yet.
I believe he has.
I think he has, yes.
Yeah.
I take that back. You're correct. He was in one of the earlier cars coming in.
Yeah, he pitted on lap 31, so we're working 42 right now. So. As the cars unlapping themselves as they, having completed their stop. Matthew Cohn with now Kevin Clifford in the car moves around Nicholas Groombridge to move up into 6th spot. That has been the highlight of the day so far. The 210, after falling back to 14th early, has just been picking off cars one after the other. And now that Kevin Clifford is aboard, he continues that trend as he's moved up into 6th around Nicholas Groombridge.
Since we mentioned the computerized scoring system, we should remind you that the same information that the teams use for timing and scoring for these races is available to all of you in the spectator areas. We use a program called Race Monitor. It is an app that will go onto your Apple phone or your Android operating system smartphone. So if you'd like to follow along with all of the racing action through the timing and scoring system, an annual subscription is just $5. Money well spent, and you can keep track of the running order the same way that we do up here at the top of the Skip Barber Tower. Again, it is called Race Monitor, and you can get it either for the Apple or Android operating system on your smartphone.
It even works on your desktop.
Joe Viola back on course. Russ Farhang continuing to sit on pit lane for his mandatory 5-minute pit stop.
I believe he's the last. So Farhang with one eye on the stopwatch to be sure that he doesn't short pit. Viola still being shown 2 laps down to the lead. as he comes by to unwind himself to make it one lap. So when Viola comes by next time, he'll be on the same lap as Russell Farhang, and Farhang should be able to head out here pretty soon.
Door being closed on the number 212, the pit crew with their stopwatch running to make sure that they are meeting the mandatory 5-minute pit stop. There's also a pit lane speed limit, so that the drivers can't cheat the score by going faster on pit road than the allowable speed limit. And in the past, we occasionally have seen speeding penalty on pit road, so everybody careful to maintain the required speed limit in and out of the pits.
Farhang lighting up the number 212 as the headlights come on, indicating that he's probably fired the motor after their pit stop, and just waiting for the cue from his crew to begin the exodus of the pit lane.
Joe Viola, meanwhile, back on the lead lap.
Just as Farhang rolls away from his pit stall.
Well, I say that, but considering the position that Farhang was in, he just completed lap number 43, so he remains the race leader. Bit of strategy there by Farhang coming in. We thought that Viola would get back on the lead lap, but if he does, he will be at very nearly the end of the lap, as Farhang just completed lap number 43 at the conclusion of his pit stop.
So far, I haven't heard anything on the radio from race control or from timing and scoring, should we say, about anyone who's being potentially penalized for a short pit. So looks like everybody has timed it perfectly so far. So I'll wait for Russ to come by, and then we can do a rundown for you, as that'll reset the scoring to the reality on the racetrack.
45 minutes complete and just 15 minutes remaining now in this final race of the weekend for the International GT Series. Your race leader is the number 212 of Russell Farhang. Second, Joe Viola in the number 262. Lou Yorio in the number 3, now shown in third position. Fourth is John Coster in the number 573. The number 14, Porsche Cayman for Zachary Bradford, is in fifth position. Sixth to the Matthew Cohen number 210 Porsche. Seventh to Nicholas Groombridge in the number 216. Ross Goldstein in the number 714 is eighth. Ninth to Joe Rizzo in the number 24. And Mustafa Bakir now rounding out the top 10. In 11th, it's Joseph Nabi in the first of the Ferraris, the number 03. Right behind him, the number 270 Ferrari for Radu Montaigne. Jeff Afterback is now in 13th position. He is in car number 10. Fourteenth in the rundown, Todd Pahonis in the number 06. 15th to Kurt Kropp in the 641. Andrew Smiley in the 167 to 16th. Torsten Gross in the number 19, now shown in 17th position. And 18th to the number 186 of Mike Beers.
Russ Farhang has just put Lou Yorio a lap down, so now only two cars remain on the lead lap, and that's Farhang and Viola. Viola in the 262.
Viola and Farhang right now right around the same lap speeds. Well, Viola in traffic just had a 56-second lap. Last lap for Russell Farhang was a 54. So Farhang again stretching the margin over Viola. It is now shown as 36 seconds, the gap between first and second place.
So just about half a lap for Russell Farhang, a lead over the second place runner. Everybody else is at least a lap down. Matthew Cohn with Kevin Clifford now in the car continues their march forward. Last lap was a 53.9. Zachary Bradford with Eric Figueres now in the car in the 14, a 54.9, so almost a full second quicker. But he's got a pretty good margin to still pick up. We'll wait for Cohen to come by. We can get the interval. It's about 13 seconds now, and we're into the final 12 minutes of this race, as we've got 12 minutes to go. And with the 06 has pulled off, apparently a wheel came askew on the 06. He's put it in a safe spot, but Josh Carlson taking over the 06 from Mustafa Bakir. And sadly, that's going to be a premature end to their day. So, like I say, the car's in a safe place. They're just going to leave it there for the final 11 minutes here. They were as high as 8th in the early running, and were on their way back forward, had gotten up to 9th after the pit stop. But unfortunately, it has come askew, and they will not be seeing the checkered flag.
Along pit lane, they are now starting the countdown, just coming up on 10 minutes remaining. A dominant performance by Russell Farhang in the number 212.
Checking the progress of the Kevin Clifford number 210, as they've been one of the big overtakers over the course of the race, picking up 8 spots. Still about 14 seconds behind Eric Figueres in the 14, so with about 10 minutes remaining, unlikely to be able to make up that interval. In the battle for the Maranello Cup, Dario Capitanio in the number 03 now, holding on to about a 4-second advantage. Dominamino Fioravante in the number 270, as they run 10th and 11th in the overall. In the Cayman standings, Eric Figueres is the leader. Kevin Clifford in a GT3 car. Second amongst the Caymans is now Spencer Pompelli in the number 24. He's back in 8th. John Coster, though, closing down on Lou Yario for 3rd spot. Coster right on his tail. It's about a 1/4 of a second as they cross the line. So a new 3rd place battle is brewing here. They're working their way through some traffic, as the 24 car in the midst of that battle right now. Spencer Pompelli trying to unwind himself from that battle. Russell Farhang's lead up to 45 seconds, as the only car on the lead lap is just about 10 seconds in front of him at the rate they're running.
Farhang continuing to turn lap times about 2 seconds a lap quicker than Joe Viola in second. So I expect that before the end of this race, we're going to see that Farhang is all alone on the lead lap.
Yeah, having lapped the field, that's what we saw in one of the races yesterday. So that's quite a performance for sure. Not in one of these races, but nonetheless, Farhang has definitely been the class of the field here today.
The New England laborers are building the future one career at a time. Train in our state-of-the-art facilities throughout New England, where they'll gain hands-on construction skills, experience, as well as knowledge to launch your own career. As a LaUna member, you will earn strong union wages and peace of mind thanks to employer-paid health care, annuities, and pensions. Start your journey now with the union that's building New England. Visit LaUnaNewEnglandJobs.com and start building your tomorrow today. I'd like to extend a welcome to those of you who are recent arrivals here. We are certainly grateful that you have decided to come and join us in spite of a less than optimistic weather forecast. We know that in other parts of Connecticut and New England, there is some rain already arriving. We are staying dry so far here at Lime Rock Park, and hope that that trend will continue. Coming up next on the schedule, following the conclusion of this one-hour endurance race for the International GT Series, we will bring out the Sports Car Vintage Racing Association Small Bore Production Sedan Sports Cars and Sports Racers for a 20-minute sprint race. That will be followed by another SVR race group for Group 10 and the Janetta class cars. And then the first of our feature races for the day, the Trans Am Championship for the TA and GT category cars, scheduled to go to the green flag at 11:40 this morning.
Just under 6 minutes remaining in the race here as we're in the closing stages. The field pretty well settled in. Lou Yario trying to hang with John Coster. Coster was able to get around Yario. Coster in the 573, the blue and red liveried machine. Lou Yario in the white number 3. Coster making that pass for third a couple laps ago. Eric Figueres continuing to lead the Cayman class. Second in the Cayman, Spencer Pompelli now, as they move up to 6th position in the number 24. But it's going to be a tall order to get any higher than that. They're some 24 seconds behind the 6th place runner, Matthew Cohn, and now Kevin Clifford in the car. Yeah, the two Ferraris are running in lockstep. Fioravante in the 270, lapping in the 53s, fast lap of the race for those cars. And Dario Capitino ahead of him in the 03, lapping in the low 54s, and they are closing down quickly on Nicholas Groombridge. So the two Ferraris could find themselves up into 8th and 9th before this one is over. Currently they're lying 9th and 10th.
Both Ferrari Maranello Cup contenders battling with Lou Yorio in the white number 3 as they go down into turn number 1. In fact, Yorio gets passed by the Ferrari. So late in the Enduro here, the Ferrari's beginning to show some pace. Yorio currently our 4th place car, but giving up track position to the number 03 Ferrari. Well, we mentioned Lou Yorio. It looks as though he has now given up the position to John Coster. So it is Russell Farhang, 212, your leader. Joe Viola, 262, second. John Coster now the 3rd place car in the number 573. Lou Yorio in the number 3 is 4th. In the number 5 position, it's car number 14 leading the Cayman class. That is the Zachary Bradford entry. In 6th position, the number 210 for Matthew Cohn. 7th to Joe Rizzo and Spencer Pompelli in the number 24. Nicholas Groombridge in the 216 is 8th. 9th to Josef Nabi in the Ferrari number 03. And then the Ferrari number 270 rounding out the top 10. That is the car for Rada Montaigne. And both of the Ferrari Challenge cars running not quite nose to tail, but now in 9th and 10th positions.
Capitanio in the number 03 has moved around Nicholas Groombridge. Fioravante in the 270 is about a second behind him as we're in the closing 2 minutes here. They've shown great pace since the driver change especially. So Nabi and Capitanio in the 03 up to 8th now, and we'll see if Montaigne and Fioravante are able to move up into 9th spot before we see the checkered flag here in a couple minutes' time.
Unofficially at the 58-minute and 15-second mark, so just about less than 2 minutes remaining to go. So far, no signal from the starter's stand that the 1 lap to go signal will be given.
We'll see it next time.
It's basically 1 hour plus 1 lap, so depending on when the leader crosses the line, we'll have a short addition to the 1 hour endurance format. 60 minutes plus 1 lap, the typical way of figuring distance, and in fact, it looks as though they are getting ready to reach for the white flag.
Yeah, timing has just alerted us on the radio that we will see the white next time by. It's Russell Farhang putting his stamp on this one, nearly lapping the field. With only Joseph Viola remaining on the same lap as the leader. And there is the white flag for Russell Farhang. 1 more lap to go.
Last time around the park,
he did put Viola a
2-1-2.
lap down on the penultimate lap, so he is alone on the lead lap.
Last trip around the park for Russell Farhang in the number 212 as he makes the sprint back to the checkered flag at the start-finish line here at Lime Rock Park. A dominant performance for the number 212 here in our 1 hour endurance race.
Both Ferraris, as expected, have gotten around Nicholas Groombridge, so they're going to finish in 8th and 9th, with Groombridge the last car in the top 10 in the number 216.
Waiting for Russell Farhang to come back to the start-finish line. It looks like the race distance will be 60 laps.
He's announcing his victory with flashing headlights, as he well should, as he comes across the line to see the double checkered flag.
So it is Russell Farhang with the win at 60 laps. Joe Viola, lap number 59 on the scoreboard, will finish second. Waiting for John Coster to come around in the number 573. He is currently shown in third. Fourth to Lou Yario in the number 3. And the number 14, the first of our Caymans, should be across the line in 5th position.
There's Coster as he comes across the line. Lou Yario right behind him as Coster able to hang on to that 3rd spot. Yario made him earn it as he was closing down in the closing stages. The lead Cayman finishing in 5th spot. Zachary Bradford took the first stint in the number 14 car. Eric Figueres brought it to the finish. Same story for the 210. Great recovery drive. Matthew Cohn took the first stint. Kevin Clifford brought it home in 6th. Joseph Rizzo started the 24 car. Spencer Bumpelli brought it home in 7th. And then the first of the Ferraris, Youssef Nabi in the 03. Dario Capitanio brought the second stint home in 8th. Their other Maranello Cup competitor, Radu Montian, took the first stint in the 270. Damananio Fioravante brings the car home in 9th spot. Nicholas Groombridge in the 216, finishing in 10th. Ross Goldstein in the 714, finishing 11th. Jeff Ofterbach in the 10 and 12th. Todd Pajonas in the 806, 13th. Kurt Kropp in the 641, 14th. Andrew Smiley finishing in 15th spot. Torsten Gross in the number 19, finishing 16th. Mike Beers in the 186 and the 06 stranded out on course with a missing wheel, finishing 18th and last.
A Verde Storage and Office Solutions is a locally family-owned legend with over 40 years of storage expertise. A Verde isn't just a company, it's a culture. Providing on-site storage and office spaces for your business or at your home, A Verde is deeply rooted in the community, giving back to the racing scene and beyond. With a commitment to excellence, A Verde Storage and Office Solutions is your go-to partner for top-notch storage solutions.
Garage Living is proud to be the official garage makeover company of Racing America. They transform garages into high-performance, fully customized spaces that reflect the passion of automotive enthusiasts everywhere. Driven by precision, craftsmanship, and attention to detail, just like in racing, Garage Living creates spaces worthy of what you love to drive. Come by and meet the team up in the Fan Zone, the official garage makeover company of Racing America.
While you're touring northwestern Connecticut, enjoy a hearty meal at the Mountainside Cafe made with ingredients sourced from local farmers, producers, and purveyors. Our cafe not only supports the community but also provides a safe and supportive workspace for individuals in recovery. We're located in Falls Village, just 1.4 miles from Lime Rock Park, and we hope to see you soon at the Mountainside Cafe.
Think like an athlete. Drink your weeds. Jim Weed is the athletic focus drink with adaptogens and caffeine that make your body believe it can do anything. Sip on some before you smash your goals. Jim Weed is the official energy drink of SVRA and Trans Am.
Northwell is here to raise health for one and all with more resources, new technology, and the most awarded health system in the tri-state. Northwell Help is here for everyone. Northwell, raise help, proud to be the official health and wellness partner of Lime Rock Park.
Just like to acknowledge the class winners in the endurance race just concluded. In the GTX class, Russell Farhang, the overall winner. Nicholas Groombridge finishing second in the GTX class. In the GT992, Joe Viola takes the win in the 262. John Coster in the 573 finishing second. Bakir and Carlson in the 06 take third place honors. In the Cayman 4-liter class, Zachary Bradford and Eric Figueroas extending their points lead as they take the win. Joe Rizzo and Spencer Pompelli finishing second. Ross Goldstein in third. And let's see, in the final contested class, the Ferraris, Yusuf Nabi and Dario Capitanio in the number 03 take the win over the 270 of Radu Montien and Domininio of Fioravante.
How do you relax after a long drive? How about with an indulgent massage at a Delamar Hotel and Spa? Or perhaps you'll enjoy a handcrafted cocktail and a sumptuous meal at one of our award-winning restaurants. Delamar is pleased to sponsor the Memorial Day Classic at Lime Rock Park, and we invite you to come and relax with us in Greenwich, Southport, West Hartford, or Traverse City, Michigan, and experience the distinctive charm and hospitality of the Delamar name. Just getting an update on the Royals Garage Car Show. Because of the weather forecast for tomorrow, that activity has been canceled. So
postponed is the word we're hearing from Amy
right
Greenway.
now. We'll see what the latest update is, but for now it is postponed from tomorrow, and they are currently evaluating whether it might be added to the schedule perhaps for Monday. So for the moment, if you were planning on attending the Royals Garage Show tomorrow, stay tuned for further details.
Yeah, a future date will be announced later in the year. Here.
So that means that Monday is off the schedule.
Because the weather forecast is no better for Monday, apparently.
Racing runs deep at Sign Pro. With a long history of supporting motorsports, Sign Pro is proud to be the official signage partner of Lime Rock Park for 2026. It's not just a sponsorship. Members of the Sign Pro team are racers themselves, so they know what stands out at full throttle. From eye-catching graphics to bold signage that delivers, Sign Pro is ready to take your brand past the checkered flag and exceed expectations. Start your project today. Call 860-SIGN-PRO or go to www.signpro-usa.com.